stop?
3:42.
Shambho Mahadeva. Well, these are all the Upanishads, practically, especially with this.
I have a play, Baba. Would you like to try it?
No.
I know I does.
Especially these Upanishads, Chhandogya, Brihadaranya, they're all basically meant for the brahmacharis and the saints. But it doesn't mean that a grihastha should not do it. Many of the practices for a grihastha, it is difficult to do. In today's condition, I won't rule out that it. In fact, if I say that it will be wrong on one side, it would be wrong. Because it is only grihastha who needs all this. For a sannyasi, he doesn't require it. He'll be much ahead of all this. Well, but these are specifications for a saintly person to be practicing. I can put it that way. That again is a grihastha. Because, you know it, probably I have also told number of times earlier in our Upanishads that grihastha ashrama is the ashrama where one can gain the maximum experience and also can have go through many of the experiences which is not available in the brahmacharyatum or in the sannyasam. Connected with, especially with the indriyas and mana. Lots of problems, emotions, thoughts, and agitations of the mind. Also relaxation, finding out alternatives to have peace. Everything is possible only in the grihastha ashram, where you can do lots of experiments and experiences. But only the problem is that the experiment and experiences should be with very intelligently, very wisely done. Otherwise, the whole thing goes lost. But there only the problem comes. So that is why all these are also meant for the grihastha. And the grihastha ashram, one has to understand this. Why? Because at a point of time, it is prescribed that after experimenting and experiencing of the grihastha ashram up to the age of 30 or 35, maximum 40, one has to go into the other ashrams. But it is not an immediate process again. the training of transition cannot be done, especially from the Grihastha ashram to the Brahmacharya ashram, Brahmacharya to and the Sannyasa ashrama overnight. Okay, tomorrow is my 38th birthday, so from day after tomorrow I am that. No, it's not possible. In order to make us this transition, one has to strive from the beginning. Is why Maharishi Vaishambhayana has started teaching the brahmacharis from the small age, and at the time of them reached 2021, they are asked to go to the world and experiment and experience the Grihastha ashram for 12 years and then take sannyasa. In that case, what happens? These years of the experiment and experience of the Grihastha ashram will not be a difficulty for them. It will be absolutely an experimental experience for them. And they will be in a position to put all the ideologies that what they have learned during the brahmacharya tour in the Grihastha ashram. See, application of the theory of that what they have learned during the brahmacharya tour can be implemented on the Grihastha ashram. So Grihastha ashram doesn't become a problem for them. Today, Grihastha ashram is a problem for everyone. Everyone has to go through the Grihastha ashram, and Grihastha ashram is a big problem. Now where to go? Whereas in their case, what happens? Vaishambhayana Maharishi has made it such a way that the brahmacharis have well equipped and learned about the Grihastha ashram and also about the purpose of life much ahead of entering into the Grihastha ashram. So Grihastha ashram will become one of the very small, in fact compared to sannyasa it becomes insignificant. Very small experience for them. It's only that experimental experiences of the emotions and attachments and attractions, the relationships all have to be experienced during the Grihastha ashram, which doesn't take more than 12 years. So these are basically, when you go through it, probably you will find many of them. For a normal Grihastha ashram who is not at all inclined to, or only very little inclined to the spirituality, or wanting the spirituality to be made available to them as a cake being baked and served, will not be befitting. The intricacies, depth. First of all, they have to go into deep contemplations. They have to understand it, take it in the right spirit, and with an intention of going through it, exploring it and exploiting it, then only one is ready to understand the intricacies as well as the truth in it in the right sense, is what we had been learned. Now in this shloka of the is also again explaining about the self of mind. The self of mind is explaining. Who is the me and who is the self of mind? Whom I call it as me, who is the self of mind, is what he is explaining. So it is definitely a very interesting chapter on this, no doubt. So, Eshama Atmandarhatyu Aniyan Brihevi Yavadha Sarvabadha Shamakadvaha Shama Katandula dvaisha atya atman arhadevehe jayan prithivya jayan antariksha jayadindivyo jayanebhyo lokebhyah. So esha eva, therefore atmantar hridaye aniyan vehe anu, the self of mind within the heart is smaller than the paddy or a barley or a mustard or a shamaka seed, that lotus seed, shamaka seed, or the kernel of the shamaka seed. The self of mind within the heart is greater than the earth. Now, what is that? He says smaller than the seed. Now he says the self is shamaka danduladvesha ma atmandara hridaye jayan prithivya, greater than the prithvi, jayan antariksha, greater than the antariksham, the intermediate space, and greater than the heaven, jayadobhyoho lokebhyah, than all these words. It's extremely subtle and extremely gross. This is what he is explaining. Now how this both can be matching. Appears like a, and it also appears like a mind. Sometimes it appears like a mind. It is sukshma. The self is antarhridaye aniya virvaha. Just like an anu. Everything is a small particles put together only. According to science, you know that there is no matter, even though we call it as mind and matter. A true scientist will never say there is a matter. Everything is electrons, neutrons and protons. The combination of the number of neutrons, number of protons, number of electrons, number of atoms, number of anus. See, what is a line? Even though it appears to be a line, whether it is a thick line or a thin line, is the pixels, number of pixels put together. That's why computer has accommodated that technology of this Sanskrit. It is each and every anu. It has been taken from here. Anus put together only can make, drops can only make an ocean. Nothing. There is an ocean cannot be created. It has to be drop by drop. Same way, an anu and a matter, a sharira is nothing but number of dots, number of atoms, number of protons, number of neutrons. So the anu, that one of that anu, and that one of anu again is divided by number of anus, tanmatra, we go 21. An atom is further divided according to Vedic science. I told you earlier also there are 21 names are there. That means division of 21 of atom is there. Even though today people have found out only one or two divisions of the atom, that's all. Up to atom only they could make out, and maybe one below. But Vedas have already explained, Upanishads have already explained 21 items below that. See? So it has been already found out. So each and every small drop like that put together is, when it is seen, then only it becomes a mass and a form or a shape or a whatever you call it, a matter, what we call it as. So matter as it is, a block as it is, cannot be put. It is not possible. creation is also like that. From a small anu only it becomes a big sharira, or it becomes andajam, bijajam, things. There are 3 types of these births are there. There also, from the small only it becomes, from the sukshma only everything comes. From a small egg only a big egg comes, and then from the egg only a bird comes. From the sukshmata, that sukshmata inside the hridaya, they said. Hridayantare. Inside the hridaya there is a sukshma of me, the mind, the self of mind is that. The self of the mind, whom I call it as I, whom I call it as me. That is only a small matra inside my heart, which is representing the whole of me, the whole of sharira, the whole of mana. It appears to be mind sometimes. It appears to be something else sometimes. It appears to be many things actually. It is not only you. You means not only your sharira, it is meaning. Whenever you are thinking about something else, you become that. You see, wherever you are focusing on, you become that. When you are looking at a mountain, you become the mountain actually, because you are not present there. The aham, the mind, the self becomes the mind. The aham, the self becomes the mountain. The self becomes the tree. The self becomes the water. The self becomes the sharira. The self becomes the mind. Self becomes the thought, everything. Whichever you are focusing on, wherever you are focusing on, you become that actually. Because the representation of me is nothing but whatever is reflected on the self. So the me, the I, is changeable. That's what it is. The I is changeable. But the self of I is not changeable. That's not. That's why we call it as self as the witness, Atma as the witness. Atma is the Sachi Bhav. Atma has a Sachi Bhav. This has to be clearly understood for the purpose of meditation. Otherwise, it won't come properly. It may appear to be very simple to understand that. But when you go deeper into it, you will find lots of confusions. You won't understand anything. Because it cannot be understood. It has to be experienced. Why? Because the anu cannot be seen. The atom cannot be seen, or the anu cannot be seen. The matra, tanmatra cannot be seen. That which is inside the heart, which is the sukshmata of me, I, or sukshma of me, cannot be seen by the naked eyes of the external form of the body. So it is difficult to understand. Neither it can be heard, nor it can be seen, nor it can be explored, exploited, nor it can be changed, neither it can be converted, transformed. Nothing can be done. Since it cannot be done, nothing can be done on that, identification of that self, the anu paramanu inside me, is difficult for my mind. It may appear to be the mind sometimes. It may appear to be a mind, but it's not a mind. It is not a mind, it is not the sharira, it is not that what you are focusing on. Everything depending upon your emotion, whatever you are projecting, yourself, wherever you are projecting, that is being reflected on that. That's all. Sachi Bhava. So you become the self, aham, there. That is why we have different characteristics in us. We are not the same. We have never been the same. Every moment we have been different. And we were never the same as before. Even though you may feel that you are the same, your character has not changed, your this has not changed, that has not. No. You are looking at a totality as a matter where the The number of matras when it is put together, you will find you are not that same. Some of the matras of that character is here. Some of the matras from the other character is here. So you will find in totality, it looks like that. Whether you draw a circle in a smaller size or a bigger size, both are circles. Is it not? This is also a circle. This also is a circle. And that also is a circle. Everything is a circle. But they are different, is it not? They are different. Same way. In us also we have these differences every moment. From the day we are born, from the day, every moment, as I told you, a cell change, this has got the change, 40, how many times was this? In a second we said about 20,000 times, 22,000 times it changes. In a second, every cell. 22,000 times. And our characteristics also changes according to that. So every moment we are different. Every small moment we are different. Why? Bifurcation of our moments. Every small part of a moment we are different. We are not the same. You are unable to be steady. You can never have a steady character. You are never that. Only who can have it? You means your mind cannot have it. Your emotions cannot have it. You just test yourself. What is your characteristic? Your tastes are different. The same thing what you tasted yesterday and today is different. The same thing tasted just before and afterwards. You take the first helping of your food and the second helping of your food. Both are two different tastes. The same food. Test it. You will find it is different. This moment is different. Next moment is different. Yes. Are you the same? You are not the same. When you are not the same, how can you retain something same? How can you perform? Same is what? These are very deeper questions, That's why I said it's not for ordinary function of a thing. It is meant for the true transformation towards the Parabrahman. These intricacies have to be understood. Unless I arrest this changes, unless I totally freeze these changes from the anu to anu, the matra to matra, absolutely, that's what is called meditation, the process of meditation. The process of meditation is throughout. It is not 15 minutes or half an hour or 1 hour. Well, that's only a practice. 15 minutes. It's only a trial whether I am able to do it or not. 24 hours one has to be in the meditative stage. That understanding has to be there. What is that meditative stage again? The mind again, which is very vulnerable to attractions and attachments of the indriyas, have to be frozen, have to be attached to the antaratma, which is not changeable. You can anchor into the mind, into the atma. It will never change. Why you put the anchor? Anchor will not. The ship will be moving here and there. Chain connected with that will be moving, but the anchor will not move. Is it not? That's why we call it as an anchor. Now it has to be firm at a place. It has to be tied. So where you can tie? We all tie with our mind. We are tied with our emotions, which is changeable. So that which is changeable, you tie with that which is changeable, you also change. Maharishi says very clearly here that it is the Atma Antarhride Aniyam. This anu, which is not changeable, is the one to which you have to anchor yourself. Now you think how one can do it, a grihastha can do it, who is performing various activities. Is what normally we think. You must remember one thing. Only that which is anchored properly in the mind, in the antaratma, or the mind which is anchored properly in the antaratma, only can perform various activities at the same time or during the lifetime without getting involved in it. The mind, when it is anchored with the Atma, only can function without getting involved in it. Yes. It is something like this. It may not be exactly what you think, but something like this. A ship which is anchored, yes, and it is floating on the sea, no? It keeps on moving, is it not? So many nautical miles it must be moving. Because it keeps on moving. It keeps on moving, but at a point of time when you look at it, the ship is at the same place, which has not gone anywhere. Because it is anchored. Had it not been anchored properly, it would have gone far away from the destination where it should have been, where it would not get any damages, where it would not get any attractions and attachments, something like that. So the mind can travel when it is tied up with the Antaratma. The mind can travel anywhere and can do anything without fear. Why? Because it is anchored to the Atma. When it is not anchored to the Atma only, the mind goes away and it is unable to return back to it. Return back to the position. And tying with the Atma is not possible. Why? Because the characteristics of the mana is not palatable to the Antaratma's characteristics in order to tie it there. It is not possible. And when it is being tied, you should remember, you will find a big ship is being floated in the sea. Anchor is heavy, which is not visible. It is under the water, because it is heavy and it sinks. Atma is not seen, it is under the water, it is hidden. That what is seen is absolutely a huge form of something. What is this connecting between that which is not seen and that which is seen? Is only a chain. Compared to any of them, the chain is very small, is it not? Chain is the strength, is it not? The chain is the strength which is connecting the ship as well as the anchor. Even though the anchor is very important, but the ship cannot be anchored unless this chain connecting between this and that is there. So unless the mind is there, the emotions or the indriyas or any other activities of the Jivatma, it is the Antakarana and the Mana. If the Antakarana and the Mana are the ones which is transmitting the power of anchor to the big ship which is floating there. It can be any big, doesn't make any difference. It can go up, the chain will pull it back. Go down, chain will pull it up. Go to the left, chain will pull back. It's a chain that pulls back. Even though chain is a medium to pull back, but the chain has to be at a place where it is completely firm. Who doesn't move? Chain moves, ship moves. But the only one who doesn't move is the anchor, that which is hidden. Atma is the only one which doesn't have any changes or any transformation or any changes. And that which is not changeable only can control those which are changeable. So if you want to have a transformation in you, you have to tie yourself with that which is not changeable, and that which is not changeable is not seen, because it is Anu and it is in the Hridaya. It is there only. The anchor is there only, but it's not seen. Ship can be seen. So whenever there is a ship, you should remember there is an anchor by the side of it. You remember the term which I told you that how to identify the Atman is by the inference. When a ship standing there and floating and dancing there on the water, in the night at the high tide and low tide, which is not at all moving away from that, with an inference you should understand there is an anchor there, is it not? So a Brahman can be identified by an external mind only through inference. It cannot be identified otherwise. So through inference it has to be understood. And this inference, in order to understand that, you should understand the Indriyas, you should understand the Mana, and you should understand the Atman also. That Atman which is Sukshma, Sukshma means what? Which is not visible to the Stulata. We call it as atom, we call it as Anu, Paramanu, Matra, Tanmatra. We also call it as the whole universe in the Stulata. How the same thing can be both is very difficult to understand, is it not? How can that it is this as well as that? There's no comparison. We think it is opposites actually. Small and big is opposites according to the understanding of the mind. But here he says, small and big are same. Sushmata is Stulata, Stulata is Sushmata. Anu is Paramanu, in the Hridaya is the self. And also it is the same as the earth, as the sky, as the that which is beyond the sky, all the worlds as big as that. How this can be both? How can this be both? Problem, no? Why? Because our mind is trained only to identify small and big based on the quantity that is visible to the eye. Quantum. What do you say? Volume. This is how much? One glass of water, one barrel of water, or the ocean. So many cubic meters of water there, and in a glass of water it is only small liters, so many liters of water. There it is thousands of liters of water. So volume. We consider the Stulata and Sukshmata depending upon the volume. Big and small, sorry, not Stulata, Sukshmata. Big and small we consider based on the volume. And we translate the Sukshma and the Stula as small and big, microcosm and macrocosm. Microcosm and macrocosm is not small and big, is it not? It is not small and big. Microcosm, that which can be micro, can be seen only through a particular medium, microscope. Macrocosm can be seen through a medium which is macro. It's also a lens. It's macrocosm, microcosm, Sushmata and Stulata, is it not? Now Stulata is the same as Sushmata because there is no two different things, even though we classify them as two. That the Tanmatra is in the Hridaya is also the whole universe is in the Hridaya, is what he says. It is difficult to understand. But as far as a yogi has to understand the Tanmatra as well as the universe is the same. Now, is it possible for a normal person to identify and understand that the Tanmatra as well as the world is same? No, it is not possible. You will always see the universe as number of planets, No, the earth, sun, moon, and the so many stars, and this, that, Patala, Vitala, Atala, Sutala. We have got names also, 14 worlds we say, and we all put together only we can say it is Sthula Bhava of the Sukshmada of the Prakriti, we say to microcosm and macrocosm. Yes. How to identify, or how a yogi should understand the microcosm and macrocosm? How a tapasvi should understand the Sukshmata and Sthulata, and what is actually Sukshmata and Sthulata? Both are same. Yogi says it is both are same. It is Sukshma as the Matra and Sthula as the earth, Akasha, and everything. How this can be two together? How can you meditate on this? Suppose they are telling you to meditate on this, and they are also telling you should meditate on that which is also the Tanmatra, which is hidden inside the Hridaya as the Tanmatra, and also you should meditate on the same Tanmatra as the Sthula macrocosm. How is it possible in both senses is what we have to understand. What is it? Is it possible to, can one see the Tanmatra and can see 1 minute the whole universe? Problem with us is that we understand, our mind understands only the small and big as opposites by the volume. Now, as can be seen by the naked eye, even though the volume is not important here. The eyes, the naked eyes can be seen. Whereas in this case, in the meditation, what happens is that when you meditate, your Sthula Sharira, closing the objective, what is Sthula Bhava? Is objective sense. Sthula Bhava is objective sense, Sukshma Bhava is subjective sense. Okay? These are the two different things. Sthulata can be seen in the objective sense, Sukshmata can be seen in the subjective sense. Now, what is the truth? The truth is Sukshma Bhava. Then what is the other one? Is it untruth? Satya, Asatya. Asatyam is not lie. Remember that. It's not opposites. One is Satya, another is Asatya. Asatya is not lie. That which is not this Satya is called Asatya, according to Vedanta. Satya is Sukshmata. Asatya is Sthulata. That which is not this. This truth, this Satya is not the Satya. No, I have complicated you enough, is it not? Yeah? Enough confusion has been created? Yes? So what is that? After having created confusion only in troubled waters, one can fish. So there has to be trouble. So there has to be a Vishada Bhava, then only Shantata can be identified and understood. So Sukshma Bhava, Sthula Bhava is what? Nothing other than it's the same as what he said. What the Maharishi says, his Tapasvi says is absolutely right. How can you understand Sukshma Bhava and Sthula Bhava? How can you understand the universe or the Prakriti or the Purusha as the Anu, Paramanu, Matra, Tanmatra, as well as the whole universe? How can you understand it? How can you realize it? How can you understand the truth? As the Maharishi or the scientists told that no, there is no matter. It's only the kanikas put together, the drops put together, the dots put together is the matter that is seen to the eye doesn't see the dots. I only see the number of dots put together. When the number of dots put together, the Sthula Sharira, the eyes, which are your eyes, can see the number of dots in the form of line. So you cannot see the dots. Thousands of dots put together is a small line. So you call it as a line. What is a line? What's a line? The line of dots. The line is what? The line of dots is the line. That's why we call it as a line. No? A line. Come in a line, come in queue, we call it. The queue, the line, what is that all? It's all drops. So the Sukshma Bhava and the Sthula, if you can understand it, it's very good. When we meditate, you cannot see the Sukshmata through your Sthula Sharira. Yes. As I told you, that's why I told you all these things. You cannot see the dot in the line, but you can see the line, even though they are only dots, nothing other than that. But you are seeing the dots in a different form. It's called the universe. But the line is not there if the dot is not there. Stulata is not there when Sukshmata is not there. Please understand, it's a very intricate subject. Even though the words are simple, even though you think you understand, you should go deeper into it and try to, because it cannot be understood. I'll tell you why. It has to have an inference, that's what I said. With inference only it can be understood. Now tell you how you invent it now. This is difficult. By the words you cannot. He says both. Sukshmata inside the Hridaya is that what is called the self of mind, and on the other side this earth and that sky and that put together is the self of mind. Is all what he has told. Now you have to find out how it is to be identified. Now, that's why he said it. Everything has to be meditated on. Everything, your mind has to be meditate in the meditative state. This is why I explained to you all these things. It's not just for sake of confusing you. Even though I told you confusing, it is not meant for confusing. Each and every detail, like an anchor and a ship and a chain, like an Atma and the Antakarana, Mana and the Indriyas, when it is connected together, then only we will be in a position to understand the oscillating ship is not moving away from that location. It only oscillates and appears to be traveling, but it is not moving away from that. Why? Because the anchor is there. Even though the mind, we think that the mind is traveling all over the world and it is experiencing everywhere, but where is it experiencing? It is all experiencing in the body of yours. If you are dead, that mind which is said, which is all over, is no more there. Finished. Only the witness Atma is there, that's all. Where is it gone then? If it was independent of moving, where is it gone? So it is not that. So whenever you find that oscillating ship is there, you have to inference by way of inference, you have to identify and understand there is the anchor there. In the same manner, what happens here? But Maharishi doesn't leave it just like that, just for your imagination. He has to prove it and it has to be understood. How did he understand that? That has to be understood. Yes, that has to be understood. Eto vacho divartande aprapya manasasa. The words are not the actions. The words are not the actions. Is it not? The words are representation of the actions. I drank water. By saying that, did that drink the water? It's only the word, the vichara. It's a vichara that expressing that one action has been done by this. Any number of times you say that I have drank the water, you cannot have the experience of the drinking of water. It is not possible. The action has never taken place. Yes? Can the action be done by telling that? Can it happen? It cannot happen. By telling, oh, I drink water, I drink water, I drink water. Can it happen? It cannot happen. But it has to be told. It is told. By telling that the word is not the action And the action, from the action only the word comes, karya karana sambhoga, sambhava, samsarga. When I drink the water, after drinking the water, experiencing it, a vakya has been created by me. Because a thought has been created by me. From the experience of drinking of water, that vakya, by telling that vakya, yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha, it will return back to you as it is. That's all. It will have no impact of drinking water. Will it have? No. Ishvara, 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 Bhagavan, Bhagavan, Bhagavan. Representation only. Only training, that's all. Chanting mantras, training. What is that? Representation again. It's only a sort of inference being created that there has to be, an action has to be experienced. So why we are unable to identify the Anu, Paramanu inside the Hridaya hidden or the Sulata of the, we cannot experience both. Neither the Anu inside the Hridaya nor the universe outside. It cannot be experienced. Both are not experienced. Why? Why? Because Vakya is only a representation of the action that has already been done. Is called the thought. Vakya is only a representation that has already been done. So neither you have seen the Anu nor you have seen the universe. So how can it have the Vakya will have any meaning to you? How can have the Sukshmata and Stulata have any meaning to you? It won't have, no. It has to be experienced. How to experience? Is why he says meditate on the self of the me. So what happens? When you meditate, that means you renounce the activities of the mana, which is chanchala, which is flexible, which is chanchala, which is constantly being active with the objective experiences of the mind and the indriyas. When you freeze them, when you freeze that or when you renounce them, when the mind is no more creating the Vakya, Vakya is created by the experimental experience. No Vakya is necessary beyond certain stage. That's why they said Jnanam is no more necessary beyond certain stage. Bhakti also is not necessary beyond certain stage. Yes. Kuchela has met Krishna. He ate his puffed rice. He prostrated in front of him. He appreciated him. He hugged him. Yes. They discussed, they talked, they sat together, they spoke. Bhagavan and Bhakta has become together. Yes. When Bhagavan and Bhakta has become together, has become one, has become together, the Bhakti and the Bhakt and the Bhagavan all have vanished. Right. So everything is only up to this part of the yoga. That's why you call it as a yogi. So yogi will understand what is Sukshmata and Stulata. How the yoga happens? Meditation. Meditation in the sense dhyanam. Through the dhyanam, through the upasana, through the nididhyasana, dhyanam alone is not necessary. Dhyanam is controlling the dhi, buddhi, bodham. Yes. Yes. Chitta vritti nirodha. Patanjali Yoga Sutra, first shloka said, Chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta vritti nirodha, stop thinking. Because your experience is nothing and is of no use. They are only meant for making your mind toned up to reach a transformation stage, that's all. There's no meaning at all. your life and your life's experience and everything, even though we have spoken about the experimental experience, in stages everything changes. You should remember. It doesn't mean that what I told you some time back is wrong. No. Every shreni, every step has got an education. Every studies. So the jnanam has to come to an end. So that what I said when I told you that at that point of time you should have the jnanam, experimental experience, then only one can transform oneself, one can understand oneself, what is called an objective experience and subjective experience. Is why Grihastha Ashrama is required, is why Karma Yoga is necessary. They are all Karma Yogis only. That is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is not the end of it. From the Karma Yoga, you derive Jnana Yoga. Same way. I am taking time for this. Why? Because you might be thinking that I am repeating it. No. This way only it will go inside. If you contemplate, then you will realize it. Dhyanam is only buddhi, bodham, chitta, vritti. That's all. By sitting and closing your eyes and meditating on a particular object is not taking you to realization of the self of mind. Take it for granted. Dhyanam, meditation is necessary. It is meant for renunciation status. Status of renunciation. Status of renunciation of the active. What is a renunciation? Activities of mind. Just not classifying, eating, drinking, walking, sleeping. No, nothing like that. Activities of mind has to be renounced. It's called renunciation. That's all. In one sentence, if somebody asks, what is renunciation? Who will renounce? What is to be renounced? Who is the adhikari to renounce? What are the things to be addressed? When there is no matter, what is to be renounced? These all questions will come. That's why I said. There is no adhikari who will renounce. Please, we are going deeper. No, earlier we said mind has to renounce everything. Now I am saying something else. What is that? Who will renounce? What is that who? Who will renounce it? Unless we understand those things, we will never understand what is called Sukshmata and Stulata. Right? So long we understood, renunciation is the meditation, is it not? You all understood, see. I also told the same. Who will, see, if mind is created the emotions and attractions and attachment, who will renounce it from the mind? Is it not? See, the mind is doing something. We are asking, somebody has to ask him to renounce it. So meditation is done for renunciation of the chittas, the experiences that mind has got. So that chitta vritti nirodha, no more thoughts will come, so mind will not be active. Mind is active only because of the thoughts. Thoughts are active only because of the karmas. Karmas are active only because of the janma of the jivatma. And the janma of jivatma is caused again by the result of the karmas he has executed and the thoughts he has created. See, it's a vicious circle. Who will renounce what? Who will renounce the activities of the mind? Who will renounce? Ego. Antakarana. One answer is ego. Antakarana. Ego is correct. Antakarana. Antakarana is that the one who is representing the Atma as I in between the Mana as well as the Atma. So this Aham, the representation of the representative of the Aham, which is called the ego or Ahankara, this Ahankara, the Antakarana, will terminate the vichara supposed to happen to the Mana. But again, Antakarana has got a limitation. Antakarana will transmit. Whatever is actual in the Atma will be transmitted by the Antakarana to the Mana. That even now it is being transmitted. Even when the mind is active, even when the mind is having attractions and attachment, the Antakarana constantly saying there is an Atma. Is it not? We all know it. See? Everyone, every small child also know. It is not that, see. We all know there is Atma. It is being transmitted. Vatmiki knew, Kuchela knew, Narada knew, Bhagwan knew, ordinary person knew. Everyone knows that there is an Antakarana and there is an Atma. There is an Atma, there is an Antakarana, there is a Mana. Mana is active even when the Antakarana was there. Ego was already there, it is there. Yes, ego was there, it is already there. Now how that ego, even though with what force, the ego will make the Mana understand. How the ego or the Ahankara, the Antakarana, will make the mind release the or renounce those things there which are there in this. How will that Antakarana do it? How will that do it? That's why Patanjali said Chittavritti Nirodha. In order to have the Chittavritti, then Bhagavan Krishna said that in order to have Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita has told that in order to identify, attain that me, in order to attain me, renounce all the karma bhalas, submit all the karma bhalas in me. Bhagavan said, execute your karmas, submit all the karma bhalas in me so that you will be in a position to renounce, he said. You understood? So even though it is the ahankara, it is the ego, it is the antakarana who is supposed to be guiding factor of the renunciation of the mind, which is already involved in the chitta. When it is already involved in the chitta, diverting a river from its flow, the river is flowing. Mind is keeping on thinking. That's why I am comparing with the river flowing. River flowing from the mountain, it has got a different, difficult force. And with a force, nobody can resist it. It keeps on flowing. Mind keeps on functioning, is it not? There is no time or there is no space given by the mind for someone else to stop the flow. And it has to be stopped. How it can be stopped is the question now. That is what is called meditation. That's what is called dhyanam. So in order to have dhyanam, there are 3 specifications given for this to happen. What happens? One is called the dhyanam. Dhyanam is that buddhi. You utilize the bodham of the mind. Utilize the bodha of the mind for the purpose of renunciation. It's not renouncing, for the purpose of renunciation. By using the bodha, what happens? It guides the mind. Because of the bodham, guides the mind, mana, to do upasana. Mind will guide the bodha will guide the mind to do upasana. And when he does the upasana, he becomes an upasak. See, his status has changed. He is not a person with chittavritti, even though chittavritti is there, but he is not a person identified as a chittavritti. But after the dhihi, buddhi is bodham, has identified him, directed the mind to do the upasana, he has been identified as an upasak. An upasak will have a chittavritti of upasana. He is also still, there is a chittavritti. Nirodha has not taken place. He will have the identity of the upasak, who is called a disciple. An upasak is a true disciple. True disciple in the sense? True disciple in the sense, a disciple who is wanting to identify the truth is called true disciple. He really consistently, wanting that I should find out the truth is called true upasak, a true disciple. When he has got the insistence and the consistency of the identification of the truth in him, he becomes an upasak. When that is the intention, what happened? He will, when he has got insistence and consistency of the finding out of the truth, because of the bodha, when he becomes an upasak, he will associate himself only with the truth, isn't it? Because he is insistently, consistently wanting to identify the truth, and without association with the truth cannot be identified. So bodham has directed the mind to do the upasana so that he can change the status to the upasak. So he identifies himself as a person who is wanting as well as connecting himself to the truth alone, associating himself with the truth alone. Truth alone, not truth. It's not a full stop. Truth alone, then full stop. It's a difference, big difference. Then his status becomes the upasak. Is it not? He becomes the upasak. So from the dhyanam, he has become the upasak. In upasak, what happens? Upasak doesn't do a dhyanam separately, because he is consistently insisting upon the truth. So he is constantly in the effect of the truth. Association with the truth is called an upasak. When he becomes an upasak, he as an upasak trying to find out the truth, associated with the truth. I told you about the upasana and nididhyasana earlier also. The same thing happens here also. After being an upasak, what happens? An insistence and consistence of the constants of the upasana being done, he becomes a nididhyasak. When he becomes a nididhyasak, even though the Atma is different, the reflection of the Atma of the nididhyasak as well as the truth, the Guru or the truth, both becomes one. When that happens, you understood now? When that truth, that means guidance has been given and the upasak has become nididhyasak, even though chittavritti is still there. And the moment the nididhyasak, in upasak there is chittavritti. From the upasak he has become the nididhyasak. When nididhyasana is done, he has become one with the truth. He is one with the Guru, one with the truth, whatever we call it, one with the jnanam, one with the light or whatever it is. No? When you do that, what happens? Whatever is happening in the truth or in the object or in the Guru or in the jnanam is only happening to the nididhyasak. Is it not? Nididhyasak by himself is not creating a chittavritti there. The chittavritti created by the jnanam or the chittavritti created by the Guru, let me call it that way so that it is easy to understand. Chittavritti created by the Prakasha is transmitted there. So he alone, nididhyasak alone, doesn't create a chittavritti, is the status called, Patanjali said that, chittavritti nirodha. The mind, his mind is no more active. Somebody's mind is active. Let me put it that way. Somebody's mind is active and that is being transmitted. There is no other mind other than his own mind. Because beyond the nididhyasana, he being the insistent of the truth, he will receive only the reflection of the truth. So there cannot be another mind. But for making us understand, the transmission is being done. So what happens? Even though that I am inside the house, let me put it, some examples have to be there. Even though I am inside the house, I open the doors, windows and walls. So the sunlight which is outside has come inside. Yes. So even though I am inside the house, the sunlight outside and sunlight inside has become one. Same thing happens when a nididhyasak do the nididhyasana to the truth. So what happened now? The mind who has renounced. Who has done the renunciation? Who has done the renunciation now?
The mind.
Nobody. This is what I wanted to tell you. Nobody does the renunciation. Nobody does the association. Yes. Nobody does the association. Nobody does the renunciation, because both association and renunciation is only a status of mind. So when the mind is not there, these things are not happening. The mind is there in the sense, when the mind has got an emotional attachment and attraction and desire, then the association takes place. When the renunciation means the association and attachment and the desire goes away from the mind, then association with the truth takes place. This happens. This is not done. Correct? That is why they say enlightenment happens. Enlightenment is not done. It's not an act. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasa. The words are only, that's why inference. From that renunciation means, from the renunciation doesn't, it's an action. Renunciation is an action. That action doesn't happen. It's not being done, sorry. Action is not done. When I say action, it has to be done, is it not? So action is not done here. A contradictory statement, I have to tell that action happens. An action cannot happen, action has to be acted. Then only it can be called as an action. But here I can qualify that as a different word, as contradicting each word. There's action happened, even though it's not a right sentence, because action is different, happening is different. Actually it happens. The renunciation happens. Renunciation is not done. Renunciation happens. Why? Why? Because attachment and attraction has happened. So renunciation happens. Did you attach yourself with a particular object or a particular human being? No. It happened, is it not? Has it been intentionally done? Tomorrow morning I have to attach myself with my grandchild. Will you do that? We don't do it, is it not? It's a reaction, is it not? It's absolutely, it just happens. A grandchild comes, or a daughter comes, or a son comes, or a father comes, or a mother comes, an attachment takes place. From where this attachment come, which was not there yesterday, हम लोग पूछते भी है ना, कल तक जो नहीं था, वो आज कहाँ से आ गया तुम्हारे में? This is a common word, no? कल तक जो दुश्मन थे, आज कहाँ से प्यार आ गया तुम्हारे अंदर? पूछते ना. Actually, that's what it is. आ गया, that's all. I have not brought it, I have not created it. It has come. Why it has come? Why? Because of your mind's activity, or the inclination of your mind to get attached and attracted. How? What do you mean by happening? Attachment happened means what? Happened is not an action done by the mind intentionally, but mind having an inclination. Mind is very weak, It's very. It doesn't have any. What is that? Astitva. Somebody tells here, he will go there. Somebody tells here, he will go there. Mind is that. He doesn't have any of that, That's why he is Indra. Indriyas. Controlled by the Indras is Indriya. Controlled by the Indriyas is Indra. So the mind is always controlled by the Indriyas, you see. When the Indriyas show him, look, there is a good movie here, Mana will say, no, I must see this movie. You see? Whose action was that? It was Indriyas. Is Indriya responsible for it? Is it Indriya doing it? Indriya is not doing it. Indriya's job is to searchlight, Whatever comes in that, it's all shown in the television. Everything that, if you ask Indriya, Mana asks Indriya at one point of time, it's because of you I have got all this badnaam, that I am a fickle-minded fellow. That's what we call it. Mind also is a fickle-minded fellow. It is, suppose the mind complains to the Indriya, because of you, this has happened to me. He says, look, stop. My job is to show everything. Like that, what is that television, in the malls, what do you call it? In the closed circuit TV. In closed circuit TV, different places, different cameras are kept. In the control room, he has got 10 screens. Camera's job is only to show it in the screen. Now, whom to get attached is depending upon the person who is looking at it, is it not? Indriya has never told, the camera has never told, you get attracted to this only. No. Mirror for information. There is a mirror. Whatever comes in front of the mirror, it shows back. Is it not? It's not an intention of mirror to show you back. It's a swabhava of the mirror to show you back. That's all. Now, if you get attracted to that, what is inside the mirror, is it a mistake of the mirror? No. So, now we are justifying everybody's assignment, So, the indriya that is there inside you, which is there, the purpose of that itself is only for showing you the objective and subjective existence of everything, if at all there. So it keeps on showing. Now the mind, depending upon the attraction that it has got by looking at it, an attachment and an attraction has been created by the mind. How? Why? Because mind is looking for alternatives, how to get liberated or how to execute the karmas, experimental experiences. So he is always experimenting. That's why experimental experiences, objective experiences. He would like to derive results out of the objective experiences is the responsibility of the mind. He has to get the results. He is a result-oriented function, you see. Jivatma is always a result-oriented function. A Grihastha is always a result-oriented function. Because from that, he derives all sorts of complicated images and the messages. From that complicated images and messages, he identifies they are all nothing but exhausting for the purpose of exhausting the karmas. This can be understood only by a brahmachari. When a brahmachari has identified and understood that the truth of the life is to identify the Parabrahman, and the objective experience is only to confirm that it is meant only for, it is not for experiencing. It is to confirm, we can call it as experiencing, but to confirm that Brahma Sakshatkaram is the only truth. That is why one is born, is why I am supposed to be undergoing an experiment so that this experiment will show it is useless. Okay. What is called the experimental experience? That experiencing is done only for the purpose of experiment. That's all. Jivatma's life, the life what we are leading, is only to experiment the Jivatma, to identify and understand that this is not meant for anything. That is why Bhagavan said, execute your karmas and give me the karma phala. You understood? Meaning of it. If you carry the karma phala, you will identify that as the karma of yours is called the attachment and attraction of the mind. When the attachment and attraction of the mind takes place with the karma phala, then a renunciation has to be done or has to happen. For that, all this process has to be done. Is why Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita said, surrender, give me the results of your karmas. Even though it's said in a small word, it's not that easy. Surrender that. That means a surrender has to take place. Upasana has to take. What do you mean by give me the karma phalas? You do the karma. It means you become the upasak. By doing the upasak, what happened? Bodha, because of the dhyanam, dihi, the buddhi, directs your mind not to get attracted to something else, but get it attracted to only the upasana, is called executing the karma. From the upasana to the nididhyasana, you are submitting all the results to the Bhagavan. Surrendering to the knowledge is called the nididhyasana. That is how you are surrendering all the karma phalas to the Ishvara. That is the time when the renunciation happens. When the renunciation happens, what happens? When the renunciation happens, the Chittavritti Nirodha takes place. When Chittavritti Nirodha takes place, the mind's activities of attraction and attachment through the Indriyas will stop. Mind's attachment and attraction through the Indriyas will stop. When through the Indriyas attractions attachment stops, mind will get attached and associated to the truth, which is called nididhyasana. It has to get associated somewhere else. When it gets associated with the truth, it gets disassociated with the other, is called renunciation. So it is not the renunciation that is being done, it's association that is being done. Okay? It's not renunciation that is being done, it is yoga being done. When I do the yoga, when I become the yogi, renunciation takes place, happens. When I am doing the renunciation, association is taking place, is not ensured. I am only doing suppose I say, do renunciation. Means, only renunciation is taking place. I am not becoming a yogi then. Then what is the purpose of renunciation? Don't do that. Okay, I won't do that. Then what to do now? Is the next question, is it not? You don't do that, then you do this. Has to be there to the mind. So when the mind becomes associated with the antaratma, when the mind becomes associated with the upasana and nididhyasana, and that nididhyasana associated with the truth, automatically renounces all other things. It's not renounces, the renunciation takes place. Let me correct myself now in this stage. It's why I said that this has to be understood very, very, it's not that simple. No? The renunciation has to take place, then only you will become a nididhyasak. Now, another side of it. Suppose you do the renunciation, you don't become a nididhyasak. Because then the ahankara plays, the ego, that is why their ego comes in between. Then the ego will say, even though ego can do the renunciation, then the ego will say that I am a person who has renounced everything. He will always say, even though he is associated, then he will say, I have renounced everything. That's why many people say, I have renounced everything. I don't have any emotions. I don't have any attachment. But he is carrying at the back that ego, that I don't have an attachment is an attachment. I don't have an attachment is an attachment towards his pride of that having the capability of not having an attachment, his biggest ego. It's better to have attachment than not than having this. Better to have an attachment than having an attachment to have attachment to saying that I don't have attachment. That is very. It's a crime. Why? Because it's like you must have heard that story that one thief and then one pujari both were brought to the Raja and told that this man has stolen few crores of the thief who has stolen few crores of rupees of thing from a jeweler. Pujari has stolen the temple money which was 5 rupees 10 paisa. Just let me say. Raja was a very great person. He said, hang the priest and put the thief into the prison. You all know the answer, of course. All were surprised. He has stolen 5 crores and this man only 5 rupees, and for that you are hanging him, and him you only putting in the jail and afterwards release him. Yes. Why? Because Pujari is supposed to know much better than this thief. So the one who knows is much more punishable. It's a crime. That's what I said, that the mind who says, the ego that says that I have renounced is much more punishable than one who gets attachment and attraction. He doesn't know. It's much more punishable. Fine. So what happens? Because of the dhyanam, meditation, becomes an upasak, nididhyasak, and the renunciation takes place. When the renunciation takes place, then the status of chittavritti nirodha takes place. When chittavritti nirodha takes place, there are no more karmas being executed. Now please understand it very, very carefully. Then there are no more karmas being executed by the mind. Karmas are executed by mind only. Why? Because chitta, it is because of the vichara, it is because of the previous karma or the present karma, the karma bala, that is creating the chitta, vichara, and through that vichara only that execution of further karmas being executed, and then only these activities are all taking place. So when he becomes an upasak, nididhyasak, what happens? Chittavritti stops there. When chittavritti is not taking place, the mind is already attached to the antaratma. Yes, the ego is no more playing a role there, because ego is not necessary at any more time. Well, ego is there. It is not that it is not there, it is there. Because it cannot be removed, because it's a reflector. So through that constant reflection towards the nididhyasak, continuously taking place, transmitting the truth to him, when that happens, he being associated with the Guru, the nididhyasak being constantly associated with the Guru. Because there is nothing of his own. When he is constantly associated with the Guru, it's a Ishvara Bhava. What is a Guru? Ishvara Bhava, not the individual who has got the form and shape externally, that as a Guru. That jnanam, where the prakasham of that, when you associated with that jnanam or prakasham, you have become one with the Guru, and that Guru's vichara is only Satya, because he is a Brahma Sakshatkari. So a Brahma Sakshatkari has got only Brahmam in him, and Brahmam is only being projected, and when he is projecting only Brahman, you being associated with the Brahman, you connect with yourself to the Brahman. When you connect yourself with the Brahman, then you meditate, sitting in the Brahman. When you meditate, what happens? What happens? Then the Sukshmata and Stulata Bhava is no more there. That Anu that is inside the Hridaya, yes, that Anu reveals the whole universe in the Anu, can be seen by the jnanam that you have got inside you, which is not interrupted by the chittavritti. Why you are not able to see the Sukshmata, and why you are not able to identify Sukshmata and Stulata is the same? Why? Because you are not able to, you are obstructed by your vision is obstructed by your acceptance and experience of your attachment and attraction of the mind towards the objective experiences through the indriyas, is why you are not in a position to identify Sukshmata as well as Stulata. The moment this status has been changed and has become an nididhyasak, have associated yourself with the Guru, yes, what happens? The Brahma Sakshatkaram and Brahma Prakasham will be your Brahma Sakshatkaram, and inside you what prevails? There is nothing else other than that Prakasham inside you. In that Prakasham, your mind is no more focusing on anything in the sense that your mind is not focusing on anything in the technical term is equal to that you have no desire, you have no attachment, you have no association. That is what is called, okay? So your mind is no more attracted to any of these things when that mind is isolated in the sense that no more attached to those things, but mind is already attracted and associated with the truth, with the Antaratma or with the Vidyasak, with the Guru, with the Jnanam, with the Prakasham. What happens? Now who thinks? Now there you don't see it, as I told you happening, you don't see it. Your vision inside you, that means the Jnana Prakasham inside you reveals. Surya doesn't show the light. Surya, when it comes, the Prakasham automatically takes place, happens. Same way, when the Jnanam comes to you, automatically inside you, the vision automatically reveals that Sukshmata and the Sthulata is that you are able to visualize. Vision in the sense see. Okay. You can see in the Sukshmata all the universe in the Sukshmata. The whole universe in the Sukshmata. Alright? Got it. So there is a Sukshmata. Is there a Stulata? Stulata is no more there because Stulata is in the Sukshmata and Sukshmata contains the Stulata. Therefore, there is nothing called Sukshmata and Stulata. Both are same. Is how the yogi, who is a yogi? The yogi is the one who has already attached himself to the Jnana Prakasham of the Guru by himself, has become the yogi. When he becomes the yogi, he identifies the Sukshmata is the Stulata and Stulata is the Sukshmata. So there is not, so in the Sukshmata, in the Anu, in the small Paramanu, without a microscope, without an instrument in between, can see the whole universe in the Sukshmata. Through that drop of water, through that through that, in that Paramanu or in that Tanmatra, in that Tanmatra, everything can be seen. Why? Because the universe is nothing bigger than a Tanmatra to that yogi. What my point? The universe, the Sthula Bhava of the universe, or the Sthulata of the universe, what is this? Prithvi, Akasha and Patala. What is Prithvi, Akasha, Patala? That's all. This is inside here. This is already inside this. The whole thing has been seen in this one. Then, why he can see this? Why he can see everything in this? No, it's not complete. It's not end. So please understand carefully again. How he can see that in the Sukshmata everything is there? Everything in the sense that what he has told here. Prithvi, Akasha, Patala, everything, the whole planetary system, everything is there. That he can see in the Tanmatra, everything in the Tanmatra can be seen. So, the Sthula and Sukshmata, there is a differentiation. That which is hidden inside the heart is small and that which is outside is big. That is not there. Why? Because he sees everything in this. How he sees and why he sees everything in this. Why I am not able to see? In the Tanmatra, Tanmatra itself is not visible to me. Forget about seeing what is inside the Tanmatra, is it not? But for a yogi, he sees everything in the Tanmatra. For him, Tanmatra is not there. Everything is there. You got it? For him, everything is there, but that is in the Tanmatra because The Jnanam and the Parabrahman is much greater than, bigger than the Tanmatra. So the one who is with the Brahman, who is with the greater, can see the smaller in, is it not? You are sitting inside the living room. You can see everything that is there inside the living room, is it not? It's very easy. The one who is not able to see the living room itself, can he see what all there inside the living room? It's not possible. For that, what you have to do? You have to go. You have to be bigger than the living room. Either you have to be big or you have to be inside the living room. Yes, so you can see everything. And you are in a position to see everything. It's the same way a yogi has to become associated with the truth, with the Brahman. When he becomes associated with the Brahman, he merges with the Brahman, associated with the Brahman. He has got the nididhyasa, he has got attachment, association with the Guru totally. He is able to see everything. And he sees that everything is in the Sukshma Bhava. That which is known as Sukshma Bhava, for a person who is not a yogi, he can see that also. Why? Because he is beyond the Sukshma Bhava. And in the Sukshma Bhava, the Sthula Bhava is contained. He is beyond that, being a Brahman. He is a Brahma Sakshatkari. He is beyond the voluminous, the volume, what we call it as volume, big and small. He is beyond the limitations of the volume. When he is beyond the limitations of the volume and he is the one with the Brahman, and that Prakasham, what is there in the when he becomes bigger than the Paramanu, when he becomes bigger than the Paramanu, bigger than the Stulata, bigger than everything, he becomes the Prakasham of the Jnanam in the Parabrahman. He becomes the Prakasha of the Jnanam in the Parabrahman. That Prakasham of the Prakasham that is there inside the Parabrahman is the one which is there everywhere, and which is because of which everything can be seen, because of which everything is being surviving, because of which everything is being produced and created and destroyed and created and again back and rotates and rolls and everything. That can be, everything can be seen. Everything can be seen or witnessed. Let me call it as witnessed. Witnessed by this Nididhyasak, having associated with the Guru and the Prakasham. So he becomes the Prakasham. He being the Prakasham, everything can be seen that is there in the Prakasham. That means the Prakasham is able to spread everywhere. Then only it can be seen everything. Yes. As when the sun rises, from a distance, you can see the Bhumi, you can see the Surya, you can see Chandra, you can see this, you can see this, you can see this, you can see this. Is it not? From a distance. But Surya has not created. Surya, because of the sunlight spreads all over. So the one who is having a yogi, who is having a greater role, which he is much above, can see everything in the light. Or he is the light. Or he is the light. So the light can see everything, because that's the one which is making everything, which can spread everywhere. He being there is how this identity of meditation has to be done like that. When we do that, when we become that Nididhyasa and associated with the truth. Now you understood what all we have explained step by step is necessary. Otherwise your mind cannot take it. Now only what we have seen is that, now only what happened? By an inference you know this Parabrahman is there. You have not experienced it, you have not identified it, you have not seen it. I have told you that these things are there. So by this yato vacho nivartante aprapya anasasa. The words that has been spoken by me will return back to you, reflect back to you once the experiencing takes place. So this is why There is no Sukshmata and Stulata. This becomes one. Is why Maharishi has explained in 3 sentences, that the self of me is being hidden inside the Hridaya, as well as Prithvi, Akasha and the Atala, everything. So, as I told you, in the beginning, could you identify what is Sukshmata and Stulata? Could you identify Sukshmata and Stulata is the same? No. Stulata means big and Stulata means the details. Actually, it's not big. The details of the Sukshmata is called Stulata. And when it is put together and then concise into small capsuling, then it's called Sukshmata, is what we understood. But now what we understand, after everything is over, there is no Sukshmata and Stulata provided I can see in the dot everything. If I got a capability to see everything in this dot, then this explanation is not necessary. So by inference, if I know Parabrahman is a Sukshma Bhava and Parabrahman is that everywhere and it is there in everything, can be experienced and understood once I have done the yoga with the Jnana Prakasham of the Guru. Through the practice of Nididhyasana, Sukshmata is not there, Stulata is not there. Yes or no? Do you get it? So I can pack the whole thing and put it into my pocket and say that, look, I have got everything in me. I have got everything in me, but to you it looks Sukshmata, but to me it looks Stulata. Carry a voluminous file in a small pen drive. Whenever it is necessary, put it on. Hours together, the matter comes out. As far as I am concerned, this is everything in me. I know what is there inside. But the one who sees, he doesn't know what is inside here. He doesn't know. So for him, this is Sukshmata. That what I showed him is Stulata. But for me, Sukshmata and Stulata both are here only. Arey, that is only screen. That's what you will see. Alright? Could you get it? Something like that. No, it's not exactly. Somewhere. Could you get? Yes, this is called the Sukshmata. How can you do it? How can you do it? You can do it only by the Jnana Prakasham, that too by the Nididhyasa. You have to become a Nididhyasa. Chitta Vritti Nirodha through the Dhyanam, Upasana, Nididhyasana. Even though you have by inference, you have understood, the Grihastha has to practice it. Then you have the knowledge of it. Otherwise, it's only an imagination. So, Yedo Vacho Nevartanti Prapya Manasasa. It will keep on happening. Sukshmata, Stulata, Sukshmata, Stulata. Even though I am trying to understand, Stulata is that, Sukshmata is this. Still that will keep on repeating the same thing. That's what happens. Because it cannot be, you can't do by heart. Because when you by heart, the heart itself is not there. Then where is the by? Oh, Shanti, Shambho, Mahadev. I think we are not completed. Let's see. So, same 3.